Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters in Yahuah. I hope you're doing well. So good to be able to do another video. And this video won't take long, but this video baruch me, and I hope that it baruchs you as well. So tonight we're talking about how to know if someone hears from Yahuah. Brothers and sisters, we got to be very careful, because there are a lot of people out there who claim to hear from Yahuah, who claim to speak for Yahuah, who claim to be instruments of Yahuah, and Yahuah has never sent them. And the first thing you must do, if you don't have it, you need to ask Yahuah for discernment. Discernment is one of the most important gifts to have, because you got to be aware, you got to be alert, you gotta know who is speaking and what they are speaking in. And so this scripture, Yahuah Rajon, I mean, really I can probably use this verse and not use any more verses. Yahuah Rajon 4:1, which is 1 John 4:1. Beloved, believe not every ruach, but try the ruach. Try every ruach to know if they are of Yahuah, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Listen, I don't care how well a person speaks. I don't care how much scripture a person knows. I don't care how righteous a person claims to be. I don't care how elegant and thorough and, well worded person, educated, however you want to put it. I don't care how they sound. You must try every ruach. You must try every person to see what ruach they are operating in. It does not matter who it is, how old they are, how young they are, how prophetic, how anointed they proclaim to be. You must go to Yahuah and ask Yahuah, who is this person? What is that person's purpose? And what are they operating in? And I can guarantee you, Yahuah will show you what ruach that person is operating in, and if that person is of him or not of him. He'll show you. Now it's up to you when he shows you to run with it or ignore it. And a lot of times, it could be someone you may be listening to or maybe really close with, and Yahuah will show you, hey, that person is not right. That person's not operated through my Ruach HaKodesh. That person is not of me. And you have to obey Yahuah. You have to take heed when the Ruach HaKodesh is informing you that someone is not of Yahuah. It's too many false prophets. It's too many deceivers. It's too many false teachers. It's too many people out there with all types of doctrine. And you don't want to be that child, according to Ephesians 4:14, being tossed to and fro, carried by every wind and wave of doctrine. You don't want to be that. Because continue on with that verse, it says, by the sleight of men, cunning craftiness, whereby they lie and wait to deceit. There are some prophets and teachers out there who are so cunning, they're so smooth with it, that if you're not careful, you'll get bit. And that bite can be very lethal. They're crafty, they're cunning, man. There's some people, and you won't even think it unless you seek Yahuah on it. And you can listen to someone on YouTube, they can be sounding so legit. But Yahuah says, he says try them. Don't matter. See who they are. And the Ruach will show you. He will. Listen to this in the book of Devarim, chapter 18, verse 21 and 22. If you say in your heart, how shall we know the word which Yahuah has not spoken? So Yahuah said, listen, when you ask this question, be ready for the answer. This is what Yahuah says. It says, when a prophet speaks in the name of Yahuah, the thing follow not, nor come to pass. That is the thing which Yahuah has not spoken. But that prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You should not be afraid of him. So understand, when someone speaks something, they claim to have gotten it from Yahuah and speaking and using the name of Yahuah. If it don't come to pass, it ain't of Yahuah. If that thing doesn't follow right after, it's not of Yahuah. And there are a lot of people out there who are speaking presumptuously, saying that Yahuah has given them a word, saying that Yahuah has informed him to teach and do all types of things. And there's a lot of them out there. And I want to throw this in too. When you're talking with a person, if that person is not willing to be subject to being tested or being questioned, if they get upset when you question something, if they get upset when you disagree with something, if that person gets upset because you're saying, you're going to pray and test to see if what they're saying is of Yahuah, if that person gets upset or they get defensive, if they, try to kind of throw more scriptures on, to try to kind of throw you off a little bit, to get you to not test, to kind of get you to believe that they are for real, that person not of Yahuah. Because what that is, that's craftiness right there. That's deception. Trying to throw you off from going back into the prayer closet and testing to see who they are and what Ruach they're operating in. Because there's a lot out there who will do that. You'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna go test this. I need to go pray and see if this is of Yahuah. And just look at their reaction. Their reaction to tell you everything. And some people will actually get offended, argue with you because you're saying you want to test them. They're like, oh, look, I'm real. People can testify that I'm real. There's so many things that I've said and this came to pass. There's so many things that I've taught. There's so many people I've witnessed to, and they were moved and touched by what I've said. Listen to that. They're talking about themselves. They're glorifying themselves. It's no longer by Yahuah. See, you let people talk, and they'll tell you who they are. They'll tell you. Sometimes you just sit back and listen. While you praying to Yahuah within your heart, Yahuah, show me this person while they're talking. And they'll say some things, and you're like, Then they'll say something else, you're like, what? All the while you just kind of just sitting back and just letting the person expose themselves. And then once you got all your information, you kindly tell that person, okay, hey, this conversation is going to end. Have a wonderful day. Or, hey, you know what? I don't want to engage in this anymore. You don't got to explain to them why. You owe them no explanation, no reasoning. You heard from Yahuah. Yahuah showed you something, and now you disengage. Because trust me, if you don't, you can easily get caught in a web of witchcraft. Read the book of Devarim, chapter 13, verses 1 through 5. It says, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives you a sign of wonder, and a sign of wonder come to pass, whereof he spoken to you, saying, let us go after other Elohim, which you have not known, and let us serve them. You shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreamers. For Yahuah proves you to know whether you love Yahuah with all your heart, with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahuah and fear him, guard his commandments and obey his voice. And you shall serve him and cleave unto him. I'm going to keep going. That prophet or dreamer of dreamers shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahuah, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim and redeemed you out of the house of bondage. to thrust you out of the way which Yahuah commanded you to walk in. So you shall put the evil away from the midst of you. See, there it is right there. Disengage. Because the intent of that person is to get you to turn away from what Yahuah has been teaching you and showing you. That's the intent. To get you to disobey the commandments of Yahuah. To get you to not serve Yahuah. And there are people out there who are so, they have this inner lust to want a following and want people to sit up under them. You stay away from people like that. So that's another way to know if someone hears from Yahuah. When they start speaking, even though that thing may happen, but then they try to convince you to serve someone else other than Yahuah. And here's another one. They'll try to do. Oh, come to my camp. Or come to my gathering, so to speak. Or come to this building, where there's a lot of us that worship. Come hear about this individual who hears from Yahuah, or who's this Yahuah. You better watch out for that. Be careful, because a lot of these camps, if Yahuah willing, you lead me, I'll do a video about that. But a lot of these camps are so full of evil people who say Yahuah, who worship Yahuah with their mouth, but inward they are ravenous wolves. They are evil and they are demonic. And you gotta watch out for that. So anytime someone, this is another thing, so I want to add this on there. How you know if someone's trying, how you know that if someone hears from Yahuah. Anytime they speak to you and it seems like they're trying to recruit you to something or recruit you to themselves, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. Everything is about Yahuah. Point blank, period. Everything. Anytime someone is preaching to you, teaching you, prophesying to you, if it's not leading to Yahuah, cut it off. Plain and simple, cut it off. If what they're teaching and saying, if it's not glorifying Yahuah and leading you back to Yahuah, they're not of Yahuah. They're of a different Ruach. This is a tight walk that we walk in, and we got to be careful who we engage with. And we got to be careful what we open our eyes and our ears to, who we open our eyes and ears to. We got to be careful. We got to, this temple is precious. The Ruach lives in us. Yahuah lives in us. And we are to make sure that we don't allow anything to come in and taint this temple. We have to guard it. So, listen, if you got a small circle, it's all right. Listen, even in this video, test me. Test to see if what I'm saying is of Yahuah. I like to say that all the time because I am, I'm not exempt of being tested. I'm not exempt, of being questioned if what I'm saying is of Yahuah. You should do that. You're supposed to do that. I do it all the time. I don't care who it is. But I make sure I ask Yahuah about that person. And if Yahuah reveals to me that person is not of him, I will no longer talk to that person. I'm serious. I don't care how much they reach out, I will ignore. Because I'm not engaging with someone who's not of Yahuah. We're in the last of the last days, and there's no time to be getting mixed up, with people who are not of Yahuah. There's no time to be getting caught up in traps, because we can fall into a trap and never come out of it. There's so much wicked devices out there. Oh, and one more thing, I forgot to say this. Yahuah 7:20. Wherefore, by their fruits you shall know them. Yahuah will expose to you a person's fruits. He will expose to you their lifestyle, what they're about, what they do, how they treat people, how they treat their children, how they treat their husband or wife, how they conduct themselves out in the public. Oh man, Yahuah, he'll bring that person to you like an open book. He will. I'm telling you. He will. He will tell you to unfollow some YouTube channels. He did it to me. And some of the YouTube channels I had to unfollow, some of them were some very popular channels. I won't say any names, but it crushed me. But I'd rather obey Yahuah. There's quite a few people he's told me not to listen to. And I'm all right with that. If Yahuah says it, I'm listening. There's even things Yahuah has instructed me not to even read. There's been plenty of times where people have, reached out to me and said, hey, have you, heard about this? You should read this. And I'll go to Yahuah about it. Okay, Yahuah, should I read this? And if Yahuah says no, I ain't reading it. I ain't reading it. Because you don't know what Ruach is behind when you open that book, or when you open that article, or when you, whatever it is, you don't know. You don't know the authors that wrote what it is that a person told you to read. You gotta be careful, brothers and sisters. You got to be careful. But that's all. Like I said, it's really simple. Even a child can understand. Even a child would know when, we teach it to our children. Stranger danger, right? Same thing in Yahuah. Stranger danger. There's people out there bringing strange fire before him. There's people out there teaching strange doctrines. Preaching something that is different than what Yahuah has said. Adding to and taking away from. Putting their own spin and twist on it. Teaching doctrines of men. Craftiness. Teaching ear-tickling messages to please the flesh, rather than bringing the truth and nothing but the truth, the hardcore truth, whether a person like it or not, whether a person want to hear it or not. So that's all, brothers and sisters. That's all. Be careful, be alert, be vigilant, be sober, because we know who our enemy is. He's a roaring lion. And he will try to seek to devour you. One more thing too. Anything that Yahuah tells you by his word, you stick with it. Because there are people who you'll say, man, listen, I've been praying and Yahuah showed me through his word this and this and that. And a person could come to you and be like, well, I had this dream, and in this dream I saw this and this and that about this situation that you saying you heard the word of Yahuah from. And they'll say that to convince you that you're wrong and they're right. And there's a story in scripture, and I wish I should have brought that to you guys, about a younger prophet and an older prophet. And Yahuah spoke to that younger prophet, told him not to go back to a specific place by his word. He met an older prophet. This younger prophet was just, chilling, hanging out. The older prophet came to him and said, hey, I saw in this dream, I'm just paraphrasing, through an angel of Yahuah. And scripture says that he said it to him, lied to him to get the younger prophet to believe him. So the younger prophet went back with this older prophet, went to his house. Then the word of Yahuah came to that younger prophet through the older prophet. Because he did not obey the word of Yahuah, judgment came, and that younger prophet was devoured. He was destroyed, lost his life. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Be careful who you believe. Be careful who you open yourself up to. Listen to Yahuah. If he says that person ain't right, they got a wrong ruach, they are of Hasatan, cut it off. Cut him or her off. Cut them off. You know? You got to guard yourself. Stay safe. Love you guys. Have a lovely, lovely Baruch evening.